Hello and welcome to another episode of Journey to a Dream, which is brought to you by Kawasaki Insurance. We're also supported here on the Isle of Man by the Andreas Racing Association. And we're talking on the Tuesday of qualifying for MGP. The weather, as I look out of the window, is glorious, so everything crossed for a safe run out for everybody tonight. And what we're talking about in this episode is once again the crucial support that is offered to newcomers when they decide to take on the MGP here on the Isle of Man. And Tracey's pictures is something I feel I'm really familiar with. I see it all over social media. The photographs are just amazing. And we're very fortunate to be able to meet the people behind Tracey's pictures in this episode. Also joined by Jim Hunter, who's going to tell us a little bit more about what goes on behind the scenes to ensure that that support is available, and also about the Back a Newcomer scheme that he came up with a few years ago. But Juan Harrison and Tracey Harrison are also with us. And I first asked Tracey how she got involved in the racing scene to start with.
My family, as in on my father's side, has been involved in the racing for quite a number of years. My dad was the flag marshal at Sarah's Cottage for 56 years, from I think it was 1959 to when he died in 2015. So that's how I became involved with the motorbikes. Then I met Juan, who was mad into bikes. Just sort of progressed from there, really.
And in terms of your interest in bikes, Tracey, were you ever riding them? Did you ever think about that side of things?
No. Horses and cows were always my thing, Beth.
Riding
bikes.
A cow? Wow.
Oh, yeah, first learned to ride on a cow. People who know me will not be surprised by that one. As a child, we went up to Sarah's and we'd have to sit up there all day. So you sort of like got a little bit I don't want to do that when I'm a teenager and all that kind of thing. But as you get older, you sort of go back into it. And certainly once I met you, and yes, definitely went back into it big time then, really.
And Juan, then tell us about where your interest in bikes all started.
From when I was a child. I lived just up the road from Ballacrane, so I remember the Halewood and Agostini's in the late 60s when I was very young. So it sort of stemmed from there. I've had motorcycles since I was 15 up until last year when I sold my last one.
Oh, that must have been so difficult, was it?
Yes and no. Not really missing it, just too busy doing the photography and real work.
And so did your family, were they all sort of interested in bikes as well?
Not particularly. My dad called it a mugs game, so no.
And competing, was that anything you thought about?
I did briefly in 1981 at Derby, but only very briefly.
Is there a story behind that?
There is. The girl who owned the motorcycle took it back.
Oh, and that's, I think that brings us to the crux of what we're talking about. This is a sport that takes not only so much dedication in terms of time, but the finance side of things, Tracey. And you sort of touched on the fact that you started raising money. Was it back in 2018? How did that all start then?
Well, that started with Jim's scheme, actually, the Back a Newcomers scheme that Jim was running at the time. We'd only really started photography really in 2016, 2 years previous to that. So we thought, well, let's try doing a few calendars and we'll put them out and we'll use some of the money towards a newcomer. So we decided to do that, and the first newcomer that we actually backed was Nathan Harrison through Jim's scheme. And then the next year we went on to back 4 newcomers through the same scheme, and then it sort of spiralled from there, really. It sort of got bigger and bigger. Then I come up with all these ideas, Beth, of like, what should we do next? Let's do some badges, let's do some auctions, and so it's just sort of gone, it's like a light bulb moment, really. Something will come along and we'll try that, and it's just sort of gone bigger and bigger every year, really, and we're quite lucky because we have a lot of supporters on our page and stuff, and followers, and they're very, very good and very, very generous. We really take our hat off. We organise it, but it's these people that pay the money to us to distribute it to the newcomers, and we cannot thank them enough for that, because they are the wheels behind it, if you like. They are really, really good. We've come to the point now where people are actually donating stuff to us. We've had a couple of, what would you call them, Jim? Them things we had, like classic, them medals we had. Did you see them?
Oh, the Finishers Awards.
The Finishers Awards. We had a couple of them donated, and they made just under £400 for the newcomers. We do a painting every year that we do for a raffle, which has become an annual thing. That raises over £1,000 every time. So yeah, it's and it's the more we do, and it's like, this is the next goal. I've got to get this much, and I've got to get this much, and it's just it makes you sort of strive to do more. Really, raise as much as we possibly can.
And with the photography, is that specifically for motorsport, or do you do other things as well?
Yeah, we do other things. We do the agricultural show. We don't do the Southern because we're always away at Armoy, so we go to Armoy and photograph there. We do horse events, basically mainly the bikes and horse events really on the island that we do.
And, you know, some of the photographs, Tracey, are just incredible. I think for most people who've stood on the sidelines thinking, I'll get some cracking pictures, and then just get back and see they've got a lot of grey road, it is just something, isn't it?
Happens.
Does it? That makes us all feel better. But, you know, there is something in those pictures that you capture, particularly, you know, when you can see the eyes behind the visor, and they're real goosebump moments sometimes.
Yeah. There's nothing more exciting than looking down the lens and, for instance, say the likes of Michael Dunlop going past Sulby Bridge with the dust kicking up behind, and you look at it down the viewfinder and you think, oh yeah, and you just rush off or I give it to my PA here, Ewan.
Hello.
And he goes off and edits it and gets it straight on, and it's great. You know, we enjoy it. We really do.
And it must be special, especially for some of the riders, perhaps the ones not necessarily up towards the top, to get those photographs and to mark those moments.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, yeah. You know, every guy and girl out there, you know, they are all heroes, every single one of them. You know, we love to see them all, especially the newcomers. I'm like a little mother hen, and I'm like, are they all right? And, you know, it's amazing. We love it.
Jim, tell us more about the Back a Newcomer scheme and how that all came about.
So I got involved with the Mike Hailwood Foundation, and that was through Adrian Earnshaw, Kevin Quirk and Sean Hogg, and they used to give us £3,000 a year to distribute to the newcomers. But then there was a little bit of a change in the way things worked. At one point the newcomers' weekends were completely voluntary and people could come along if they wanted to, but then there was a change to the requirement and it became mandatory. So all of a sudden, instead of having 20 newcomers attending, we had 30, 40, sometimes even more than that, newcomers attending these weekends. So the money that the Hailwood Foundation was giving us was really appreciated, but when you divided it amongst that many people, it wasn't quite covering their expenses of travelling to the island. So we just had this idea of, I get to do Back a Newcomer, and we were just selling like a little package of a grandstand seat, presentation, photograph, a start line pass, and in return for that people were making a donation. And they got a little social media post with their name and the rider they'd backed, and wasn't quite sure how it would take off, but it just went so well. And every single newcomer from when we launched Back a Newcomer was always backed by somebody. It's proved to be a great success.
And when did you say that was, Jim? When did it start?
Well, I'm going to say, a couple of things happened. Number one is that there was a time when we were struggling to get newcomers for the Manx Grand Prix, and I remember a really interesting conversation I had with somebody, and he said, look, what you've got to do, you've got to roll out the red carpet for these guys. These guys are the future of your event, so you've got to try and do everything you possibly can to make that first year as enjoyable as possible. Not just enjoyable, there's also, as you've indicated already, there's huge financial constraints, and just trying to get over to the island and get yourself on the grid, it's expensive, and some of these guys are really operating on a shoestring, and sometimes, as we know is the case, some of the most talented guys are also on a shoestring. So we want to try and spread out the money as much as we can and make sure everybody gets something. It's proved to be a huge success. I'm indebted to Tracey and Juan now for sort of picking up the mantle, as it were. You really can't underestimate how much work these two guys do. Not just in the build up to the Grand Prix. I can absolutely assure you 100% it's a year-round thing that they do, and it's just I'm delighted that they've sort of picked it up.
Your powers of persuasion must be quite something, Jim, because Tracey, I understand, was it 2023 when Jim said, would you back every newcomer that we
last
have?
Year.
Or was that last year?
2024,
right.
Yeah. Jim came to us and said, well, how do you fancy backing every newcomer? So we was like,
did you ask how many there were?
We had 26 last year, was it, Jim? Yeah, 26 last year, yeah. So we said, yeah, OK, we'll give it a go and see how it goes. And it was good, yeah. And, of course, we're back again this year with 29 this year, so... And
do you get a sense, Tracey, of just what that means to the individual, what that support means?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the guys are very appreciative, yeah. Can't thank you enough. We have a lovely guy who we backed in 2023, I think. Was it Jan? Jan Galley, a French guy who had a little bit of an accident this year at the Southern. And Jan comes over every year. He gives us a big hug. He brings Prosecco. I
love how your eyes lit up there. That was amazing.
He brings wine. He always brings a gift. You know, he's so lovely, and there's lots of them are like that. You know, they become good friends. You know, they really do.
That's
become
a really
good
good
friends,
point,
don't they?
There are several long-standing rider-sponsor relationships that are still going on in the TT right now that have come out of the Back in Newcomer scheme. And I've got some friends coming over, Phil and Bobby Matulja, who they've always sponsored riders. Over the years, they've sponsored so many, but they continue to do that. All of them. They've formed some really nice friendships through it.
Yeah. Jim was saying, this is not just an event that happens around MGP time, but it goes on year round. Would you give us an idea of just what is involved in getting all the support together?
A lot. We chase round after the riders who are excellent. The top riders, they will sign stuff for us and then we auction that stuff off. We do, sort the badges out, the calendars, editing photos, doing this, doing that, doing the other, trying to find a couple of hours so we can have a bit something to eat some days. It's all worthwhile. It's excellent. It's good fun. It keeps us out of mischief and we love doing it.
And I guess that connection with a sport that you clearly love as well.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I'll sit and watch bike racing, no matter what it is, day in, day out, if I was allowed, but I don't have time for that anymore.
Tracey, have you got any idea of how much you've raised over the years?
Yeah, I totted it up yesterday, and with all the Manx Grand Prix guys, and with what we also back a newcomer at Armoy every year since 2022. And we back a sidecar team every year of newcomers at the Southern as well. So far it's come to over 32,000 to date.
That's incredible, isn't it?
And we've still got money coming in. so
as we speak, we're on the, what day? I don't even know what day it is. It's Tuesday, I think, of qualifying week for MGP. You've got a presentation coming up. What's happening there?
We have, yeah. Well, that's organised by the Halewood, is it, Jim? Yeah. And we get all the newcomers together at the Halewood Centre at 2:00 this afternoon, and we present them with their checks, is it they get, Jim? Yeah, checks each rider. So we get to actually meet every rider. Probably this is the first time we'll actually get to meet every single rider all in the one place, and we give them out their stickers to put on their bikes. And so, yeah, it's great. We're really looking forward to that one. So it's just nice to be able to get to meet everybody.
Yeah, I bet it is. And so during MGP then, where are you? What are you doing? Do you have different spots that you go to? Yeah.
Well, we have our regular spots, as our tradition, as we call it. We do Sarah's, obviously, the connection with my dad, and Roy up there is fantastic. If you get the chance, you need to go to Sarah's cottage, because Roy is a lovely guy. There's food and there's toilets and there's seats, parking for bikes. So yeah, get up there. Again, we used to do the accreditation side of things, but we stopped that 3 years ago, and we now go to people's houses. And again, these people have become our friends. So tonight we're going to Ballaugh. Go to a house in Ballaugh with Ben and Marion. Lovely people. I can sit and talk to them for hours, but obviously I've got to work. But and then we've got various people that we go to, and all the time each year that we'll think, we'll go to that house and we'll ask there, and people are always very obliging. They're more than welcome to let you come in and use their garden. John and Viv at Sulby, for years we've been going to John and Viv at Sulby, to Sulby Bridge, to get some really good photos there. So yeah, it's great. Again, they've become family, really, these people. So it's a nice little close-knit sort of community type thing, if you like. We look forward to going to see them.
Where's your favourite place?
Oh gosh, now you're asking. I've got too many, Beth, to be honest. It used to be Sarah's, but now there's so many, because we like going back there every year, like Sarah's, Ballaugh, Sulby, Glentrammon. We used to go to Lamfell. We had lovely friends there, but they've moved now. So, but yeah, it's just I couldn't say there's one favourite place. If I was really, really pushed, I would say it would have to be Sarah's for the nostalgic side of it.
And I guess, does it depend? Obviously, we've got qualifying that happens in the evening. Obviously, the racing's typically more likely in the day. So, sort of light-wise, do you have to sort of take that sort of thing into account?
Yeah, not so much these days. We do like a challenge, and with the modern day cameras and the way editing is these days, it's not as much of a challenge as it would have been back in the day. So we don't really worry too much about it. But yeah, to make your life easier, it depends on light and shadows, and sometimes like shadows in certain places can make a picture. So to some degree, yeah, but it doesn't really bother us that much as what it used to, sort of things.
Do you try and get a picture of everybody?
Well, yeah, we try and get everybody, especially the newcomers, especially. But yeah, we do try to get everybody. I think we do all right at it, don't we? Getting everybody. Yeah. The odd time we might miss, but. But you do try.
And once you've taken those photographs, and obviously they have to sort of be edited and looked at and whatever, how long does it take to sort of turn them around?
Depending on what it is. The high res is just straight away. It's put it through the editing programs that we have. A lot of these photos these days are digital high res. They're the easy ones. We can do canvases. We've got a fellow on the island, Kevin Kringle at Print One. It's fabulous. Does all our canvases for us now. Prints Morrison's photos. We try to use local. We've, as much as we can, we try to any print, and we try to use local, and they are very good. We are very lucky with having good printers.
And I should say, Tracey, I mean, this is sounding like a full-time job, but you've also got a small matter of getting up fairly early to do something in the morning as well.
Yeah. Yes, I get up at 3:15 in the morning to start work at 4:30 milking cows, so... getting up at 3:15 is purely my thing, because I can't just get up and go. I've got to have my cup of tea and a piece of toast. So I start work at 4:30 milking cows out at Ballamore on the Patrick Road for Dave and Lucy at Goodwin Farms. And Dave actually pitboards for Michael Dunlop. So even on the work side of things, we have a connection with bikes.
How do you look as good as you do? That is just ridiculous.
You wouldn't have said that. You wouldn't have said that at 9 o'clock this morning when I was covered in cow poop.
We'll ask no more. Juan, I mean, the key thing to all of this is people getting hold of the photographs, but also, those people who've got an interest in supporting the newcomers and doing their little bit. I mean, you do, I think, tea towels, you mentioned some of the things you do. How do people get hold of those items?
Well, it's just through either Tracey on her own Facebook page, or Tracey's pictures on Facebook, or me, Juan Harrison. All of us. Sometimes people even ask Jim, and we never hear any more about that. Yeah, it's quite easy to get in touch with us. We're out there all the time, and people can do it. Simple. Just ask. All the albums on Facebook have if you want them, just ask. So simple as that.
And that's the thing, because people really like to share their photographs. So I guess as long as they sort of credit you, because that's the thing, isn't it? It's keeping your name out there, and social media is great for doing that.
Oh, yeah, it's fabulous for doing that, yeah. It's not so fabulous when people take away the watermarks and try and use them, but you always recognise your photo.
Does that happen a lot?
Not so much these days. It did used to happen a lot, but not so much these days, really. Not with the ones with watermarks on. I'm sure there are people out there that do remove them, but people are generally good these days if there's a watermark on it.
I suppose in the past it might have been more ignorance, really, because people didn't really
it's
understand.
Just education. That's all it is, really. It used to be at one time that the general thing of it's on Facebook, it's free, but that's not the case at all. It's our work, it's our job, it's our property, and it's like me jumping in a plumber's van and saying, well, I'm just going to nip up the road and do a plumbing job. Is that okay?
I bet you could, actually.
But yeah, it's just an education thing, and people are pretty good these days. So
if somebody sees a photograph themselves, they just get in touch with you either via Facebook, or have you got a website as well?
Yes, we have a website, yes, but we tend to use the website just for our calendars and badges, and as more like a shop than a gallery, because we get very confused with websites. So it's easier for me to do it, or for both of us to do it through our page, through Tracey's pictures, and to contact us that way, either directly on a photo or through Messenger, or contact one of us direct, and we can sort it out, not a problem.
I understand tea towels are very popular. People like...
The tea towels went really well this year, and again, they're printed by Kevin at Print One. So, we'll do the same thing again next year on those, because they did prove very popular, so...
And I think the other thing, Tracey, is that the support isn't just sometimes people wanting to get something back for it. There are so many people over here who just give without expecting anything in return.
Oh, yeah. We have people that come back to us every year and they just donate money to us and just say, put that in the newcomers pot. You don't have to buy a photograph, or you don't have to get yourself involved in an auction or a raffle. If you just want to give a few quid, just get in touch with us, because we do have people that do that. They round figures up, if they're buying badges or something, and the postage is pence, they'll round it up. We have actually got on our website, you can actually make a donation. So you can buy a badge, or you can buy a calendar, and you can actually make a donation to the newcomers through the website as well. So it's not just auctions and raffles. It's, if you feel you want to put some money in, then just give us a shout and we can do that for you.
And the amount that the newcomers each receive, that then is all based on what you've raised during the year?
Yeah, we divide it between however many newcomers that there is for this particular year. And obviously this year it's 29, so... And
I think, just to mention it again, Jim, it's really heartening to see how many newcomers, and we've got 6 from the Isle of Man, the rest from further afield.
Yeah, it's such a great thing for our event, because I was just thinking about, actually, when you were talking there, that there is so much hard work, but when you get a day like we had on Sunday, the first practice, because it went so well. And you see the guys going out, and then you see the social media posts, yourself talking to them, and they're just absolutely full of it. And that's for me, that's what makes it worthwhile. And you hope they get hooked. You hope they ride well and have a great time and want to keep coming back and supporting the event.
I don't know whether really you can overestimate what that means to somebody when they hear the news that they're being supported like that.
Oh, it makes a huge difference. Like you say, we are going full circle, but it does. It's an expensive game. People give up an awful lot to make it happen, and the fact they've visited the island already twice this year before the event, so they've incurred a lot of expense through that as well. So to get some of that paid back to them makes a huge difference. So I can't really overemphasise how grateful we are to Tracey and Juan for the support they've and the hard work that they've done for us.
I have an idea for next year.
Oh, I knew you were going to have another idea somewhere.
A light bulb moment, yeah. So, well, I thought about maybe approaching local companies. I was going to call it price match. So the idea would be to go along to a couple of local companies and say, look, guys, if we've got this amount of money to put into the newcomers, how do you fancy price matching that? And you will have 29 bikes starting off on that grid with your company name on. Yeah, so that's my next little project for next year.
Well, we've literally heard that idea here first. We're going to claim that one, Tracey. And if anybody would like to get in touch, and then we will put the links onto our podcast page. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. I should just say at this point, I'm going to have to take a photograph of you all now. I feel a little bit under pressure, actually. If you've got any tips, Tracey, for taking a...
Don't put me in it.
Tracey and Juan Harrison and Jim Hunter, obviously very well known as a travelling marshal, a former MGP competitor himself, and the person that was behind that back and newcomer scheme. Just great to catch up with all of them. And we will have photographs on Manx Radio Motorsport and the Manx Radio Facebook page of that presentation to the newcomers this afternoon as well. If you'd like to get in touch with Tracey's pictures, the links are on our podcast page here. It's also where you can find out more about the podcast sponsor, which is Kawasaki Insurance. Their website is kawasaki-insurance.co.uk. And there's also the link to the Andreas Racing Association. And just a reminder that we've got Derby Day coming up on Sunday, the 24th of August. All the details about that you can find on the Andreas Racing Association social media pages. It will be well worth going along to. If you have a remote interest in bikes, there will be something for you up there. Thank you so much for joining us this time. We will be back very soon with another episode of Journey to a Dream. So until then, take care. Bye-bye.